Hey, welcome everybody. It's October 21st, Thursday, and I'm John Zidar. This is On the Top and Hot, and this is brought to you by Pennybois. You know those PB alerts you hear about? Yeah, they've got them, but they've also got training that is a lot better than the alerts are. So what I do here is I go out looking at OTC stocks. I look for stocks that have catalysts that are going to run for whatever the reason, news, technicals, rumors, it doesn't matter. They got to have something going for them because we want a stock that's going. And I went and found some today, and they've definitely got something in common. Relative volume. Now these stocks are going to show you what relative volume is all about, and it makes a huge difference on when to pay attention to a stock. When relative volume jumps, you have to take notice. It's like your local hot dog stand doing like 800 hot dogs a day, and the next day you drive by, you see 5,000 people out in front trying to get a hot dog. You wonder what is up, what's happened, and should I get a hot dog? So we're going to go take a look at a few stocks, and I've started them with the lowest relative volume up to insane, but they all have got something going for them that may have something for you. Let's check it out. So the first one we're taking a look at tonight is PLGNF. I am over here at the OTCmarkets.com, where you should always come to research OTC stocks. This is where FINRA and the SEC puts all the important information. The news and the stories, you may have to go outside of here, but the important stuff, start here, branch out. This is Playgon Games Incorporated. They are currently at 23 cents. They were down today 3.8%. They are on the QB, which is the better market of the OTC. They are transparent. All of their financials are audited, and this company is all caught up. They're in great shape. They even got independent directors, which you need if ever you plan to uplist. So that's always nice to have on the table. Now, this is a company into iGaming, gambling online, and they've had content for a while, but it was here recently that they came into their new virtual reality live dealership, and this is as close to a live experience as you can get. They have the table games, the casino games, and you get to choose the type of dealer you want, and they each have their own personality. They're there to entertain you, and it's something else. And this has brought them a lot of business very fast. Now, looking at their financials currently, there's nothing there to brag about. Matter of fact, there's nothing there. They got nothing for last year, but that's why I've brought you here. Their circumstances and their revenues have drastically changed, and I think it's going to be a big change for the company. I'll show you that in just a second. But let's first take a look at the relative volume today. She only does 24,000 shares a day. That ain't much. And she did 28,000 today. That ain't much either. That's about a 20% gain, though. That is the least gaining, relatively speaking, volume stock we have today. 20% gain, and she fell on that. Like I said, 3.8%. What is her share count? Is that something to be proud of? Well, no, but you don't have to be ashamed either. It's 111 million. Not a bad share count at all. All right. What I want you to focus in on over here is their news. The news actually tells the story. You can see that they were, back at the beginning of the year, they were listed as the top 50 fastest growing companies on the TSX. They got a license for gaming from Malta. Then they went into a bunch of presentations and conferences and, spread the word about who they are. They opened up live in South Africa, some more talking about themselves. Then they got a licensing distribution deal with Solid Gaming. Then they started launching these live studio dealers that I was just showing you. And this is where things started getting interesting. Now, this is September, and they're talking about money they made for August. They were exceeding $1.4 million a month. The first month, they just got going, and they had already done $1.4 million. It was incredible until, and now they've got some more things going on here, expos and stuff, but this piece of news right here, all right, Polygon increases betting handling from 1,500% to surpass 24.2 million in first half of October. In the first half, folks, daily player betting turnover is approximately 1.6 million per day. When they first started, it was at 53,000 per day. So you can see that this is growing at a phenomenal rate. This has just got going. The company has just started making money. This virtual reality live dealer who has personalities and makes even cuts on you is really taking off. The gambling and gaming industry is booming. This country isn't the only place this stuff works. You got to remember, all the world is the oyster when it comes to gaming. So let's go take a look at the chart and see what is going on with this. So I do all my charting on TOS, that is Thinkorswim. You can get this too free at TD Ameritrade. Just sign up for an account there. You don't have to trade with them. They don't charge you anything to have the account, so it's free too. And voila, you got what I got. Go anywhere else, they're going to charge you hundreds of dollars for a comparable sort of platform. So this is a good deal. All right, we are looking at PLGNF on a 6-month, 4-hour chart. And this is our February, March area where we got all the stimulus money, the free money. This stock was kicking when everybody was just looking for wild cards to invest in. And it has been falling ever since. And it's had some grand tumbles all the way down to a low bubble here. And even that didn't seem to turn the tide. And what do I always say? If a stock has value, they'll buy it on a low bubble. Well, they really didn't. Why? The stock didn't have any value. We just showed you that they had been making no revenues. It wasn't until this last quarter that they've even got this new live dealer thing going and started bringing in revenues. So now, their first quarter, it is in high gear, churning out the green, and this is going to be a different game. So, they have hit a bottom down here. I don't expect it to go a whole much lower now with this new money-making software as a service, if you will, in iGaming. Let's come down to the 5-minute, 5-day. Now, we talked about this. Very little shares were traded, 28,000. That may have been, it looks like 2 trades today. Doink, doink, not much at all. So I would expect that this would start trading, that more volume is going to be the indicator because relative volume is very important. When the volume spikes, there's, it's like when something broken starts making more noise, you know it has to be paid attention to. And that's all relative volume is. It is a loud noise, and the more relative volume is, the more you should pay attention to it. And this has very little relative volume. However, they do have a very large wheel generating money for them. And I think it's going to get bigger. So this may be a very good price to get on this. It could drop. It looks to seem to have a low here of 22 cents, but here you're at 23. I don't think you're going to get much lower. I think this is a good buy. Let's look at I'm going to go all the way back to a year because they were making money just over a year ago. See, this company hasn't had their best foot forward, and this new product definitely impresses me. Gaming is opening up fast. Online gaming is open in most of the world, not here, but it is opening up here. And when you've got something as tantalizing as this, I think it could really, really become something huge. So put this on your watch list. Matters of fact, you may want to buy it now and just hang on to it. Give it 3 months, 6 months until their financials come out and they can brag about how much money they've made, and then watch the stock jump after the financials come out. That would be a good way to go about this stock. PLGNF. All right, let's go take a look at the next one. So the next stock we're taking a look at is Lvgi, Limitless Venture Group, Inc. For all practical purposes, just put it in the cannabis sector. They don't sell flower, but they sell vapes, and it's still in the cannabis sector. They were just over 2 cents today with 50% gains. They are pink current. They are all in good shape. They've got no problems whatsoever. Their relative volume today, double. They normally do 155,000. Today they did 327,000. So just over 100%. They doubled their volume. Their share count. This is impressive. They have 1 billion shares they could put on the market. But bless their little souls, they only put 17.5 million out there. And most of those are in the float, but that's not very many. 16.3 million shares. That's a very small float, folks. All right, and financials. They doing anything? Yes, they are. The back half of 2019 and 2020, they were doing, a few thousand, tens of thousands, but they did a $500,000 at the end of 2020, which is really why I'm here now, because they just had news come out. And this news is that Limitless Venture Group Inc. and subsidiary Roken Inc., which is pretty popular in the vape sector, solidify plans to make Roken Vapes the industry leader in the projected $26.5 billion cannabis CBD vapor market. Now, I'm not quite sure all that they have planned here, but there's their little unit right there. Pretty snazzy little guy. You vape your vapes in there, THC or CBD, nice and clean. And I did see that down here they gave us some numbers. We are pleased to be deepening our financial commitment to Roken. We expect these capital injections, I saw it was $1 million, will help the company achieve $10 million in annual sales with approximately $1 million in net profit dollars for Lvgi by the end of the fourth year, with cumulative $27 million in total sales for the 4-year period. So this is... Vapes are growing at a tremendous rate. They don't need a lot of legalization because CBDs are pretty much everywhere. But in either case, this is what has got this one running. Small float, double the volume. Financials have been growing. Let's go see if the chart shows the same thing. So here we are looking at Lvgi. This is on the 1 year. But let's bring that in. I think a half a year would do us good. Okay, so there's your half a year. You got your stimulus month. A lot of fake money came in. Didn't help tell us anything about the stock. It went sideways. It wanted to hang on there. Took a drop and has fallen down here and hit a low bubble. Now this low bubble is important. We have seen this play over and over. This is a perfect setup for recovery. We have seen that when a low bubble and catalyst come together, you get a big bounce and hey, we're done falling, and it starts coming back. So we had a low bubble and the news just came out today. So this pushed it up. You can see that low bubble pushed it up 1, 2, 3 periods, and then today the news came and launched it. And I've got lines drawn here to show us where the basic supports and resistances are. We are right at one right now. Now, if it breaks this, there's a very good likelihood that it's going to reach here. Let's come in on the closer so you can see that. All right, this is, let's squeeze that in. There we go. So there was our low bubble. She climbed slowly, very slowly, but it stopped falling. That was the important part. It quit falling. And today the news came out and it took off. You can pretty much see probably when the news came out too. She was slowly climbing still from the low bubble. The news came out at approximately 11:50, 10 to noon, and that pushed it up higher. Now this support right there will slow it down. It gets some push. It's right back to where it pretty much was at. And it's got some strength going on right now on the 5-day. The MACD is pushing up, the RSI is pushing up, and the news is good. So if it can break this, it can easily work its way right up to underneath 3. So like 0.029 would be a good place to sell if you got in here and just looking for a quick gain. So I do believe that this has got some potential in the vape sector. It's not going to be a fast turnover, but I see this company as growing. Take a look at that 4-hour chart again. All right, as a matter of fact, let's go back a year because I don't like February being where we start our picture. So she was back around here. Around here is where she was settling her price at. Let me get the right dollar money mark. She was settling right around here. And then came February and shot it and overinflated its value. And of course, it fell deep because it went high. It fell deep. It tried to come back to its normal and things just fell apart through there. And I can't tell you why, but I can tell you that the volume here is very, very strong. It's equivalent to what we saw back here in February and at the beginning of the year. So I like the way this is set up for a recovery. I think the volume, the relative volume tells us it doubled today. Not a lot of volume, but it doubled. And that tells you there is interest in the company. And that low bubble tells us it's time for it to start coming back up. I like this one. Now this next one I'm showing you, well, I read some news today on it, and as far as I'm concerned, this company has crossed the line. That's right, they've crossed the line, and I wanted to bring it to your attention because it could be worth something. This is DMT-TF. Remember the DMT. It's going to come into play here. Their company's name is Small Pharma Inc. They ended the day at just over 46 cents. They had 60% gains today on the news that I read. They are on the QB. QB is the better market. They're transparent. All their financials are audited, so you know you're safe with the company on the QB. They are shell risk. That makes sense. They're not making any money. We can prove that clear and simply here. Not even trying. They're not even putting in zeros, folks. Which is really why I'm here, because it's a game changer what happened today. So let's go take a look at the interest. What was the relative volume today? All right, she's got a market cap of 92 million. She normally only does 23,000 shares a day. Today, she did 789,000 shares. That is approximately 28 times the volume. Not double, not 2. 28. So this is 28 times more volume was moved today than normal. Got to take notice of that. Does she have a share count that we can brag about? 104 million, not too bad. They got... Oh, that's the market cap. All right. Well, I was going to tell you how many authorized shares they have, but it's a foreign company. They don't have to tell us. But they do have 317 outstanding shares on the market. But 104 is not a bad float at all. So, what is it about this company that has me saying it's crossed the line? All right, here's the news. Small Pharma granted fast track designation from UK regulator for DMT assisted therapy for major depressive disorder. DMT, folks, is a very special molecule. It's rarely ever seen. It is inside of our bodies, but to be totally honest, science doesn't know what the heck it's doing there. They don't know what it does, and they really have got no clue. People who experiment have found this in red bark that you can get from South America, leach it out, and you can smoke it or eat it. And basically, folks, it is like a LSD trip. That's the same for everybody. We all go down the same path. You're being sucked into it, and you see stuff, life included, three-dimensional stuff beyond your imagination. And then when it ends, you're sucked back. You have no control over this trip. And the longer you can stay in it, the further you get. Most people don't get further than 30 seconds to 3 minutes. But we all see the same thing. Personally, I think it's an emergency escape for us. I think if you're getting burned to death or eaten up by a shark, just you can't handle it, you leave your body and you take this emergency exit and it's pulling you away, even though, you're still here. But in either case, that's what has been fast-tracked as depressive disorder therapy control. And I've not seen anybody anywhere in the world do anything with DMT. It is beyond understanding. So, they've crossed the line. But as you saw, there was 28 times as much volume today as normal. Let's go see what that chart looks like. Okay, we're actually looking at the 1-year chart for DMT-TF. You can see she's had some huge bounces. I mean, these are starting off at 39 cents, so you're getting 300% here. She's pretty much stayed right in this section. She doesn't really get a lot lower. She had one tag there. It was a freak. We can see that. It never goes that low. So to ever expect it to fall lower than here, which was, well, there you go, folks, a low bubble on the yearly chart, and she's been going up ever since she hit that low on the yearly chart, excluding this one. If you don't count this freak, that would be the low bubble right there. So let's come in on this on the 5-minute 5-day. She hasn't had anything going on. She's not making any money. She just had some news that, hey, they're going to want our drug to be fast-tracked, which means it could be on the market very soon. Very soon. And these therapy drugs, they charge a lot for. So there's a low bubble right there, and it took off from it, and the news came, and it took off again. Now, it's at 47 cents. I honestly can't tell you, folks, what I expect this to do. I'm telling you, it's crossed the line. It's gone into places no man's gone before, and I don't know what is going to occur. But these LSD and DMT and ecstasy drugs that they're coming for therapies for alcoholism and phobias and PSDT, there's a lot of money in it, and it seems to be functioning. It seems to be working. It's amazing that the things that they thought was illegal and worthless has more value than all the stuff they've been concocting and selling us for decades. So this is just a magic bullet, folks. I don't know what you think about it, but there it is. It could become something $50 because it's just a freak of nature, the first of its kind. I don't know. The next one up the relative volume ladder is GSAC, Gel Stat Corp. They finished just under a penny and a half today, and they fell 10%. This is a pink limited information company. They are late on filing, which is why I've got you here. They have just filed information that can help them go current, and we expect a bounce out of this. They have everything taken care of here, verified profile, transfer agent. They are shell risk. They aren't making any money, they say. Let's verify that fact. Yeah, I wouldn't call $4,000 money. But they do have independent directors, which they don't have to have. This is an expense you don't need. They're not attached to the company. They are overseers. They have a non-biased opinion of the company that they can always give. This is what you need if you're going to uplist. And they've already got them. So that's a good token sign. Let's see what the volume was today. Relative volume, they normally do 12,000 shares a day, 12,000. And today they did 379,000 shares. Folks, we're talking 30 times the shares. That's a lot of relative volume. That's a big crowd outside when yesterday I had to put hot dogs back in the fridge. So this is definitely something to be taking notice of, which is why I was really over here. What is their share count? Well, not too bad, actually. They got 54 million in the float. Now, it says they got 91 million. It possibly could be 91 million, but I'm going to go with 54. I'm going to say it's 1/10 of all the shares they have on the market, which is 1/10 of all the shares that they have available. See a pattern going here. Maybe management's a bit anal. And the financials we've already looked at. So let's go see about their disclosures, which is why we're here. They filed today. They filed today an attorney letter, which is the last piece you need. They put in their quarterly report a month ago, over a month ago. September 2nd was the last one, period 630 right here. And there it is. So that was the last piece to the puzzle. They have been waiting to get this to pink current, and that is where you have to be, or else they pull you off the market and put you onto the expert market if you've been here too long. So that's what's got this running, and just getting that attorney letter got them 30 times more volume than normal. Let's go see what the chart looks like. Even though it fell, that could be a buying opportunity right now, folks. We're looking at GSAC on the 6-month 4-hour chart. You can see she's had a lot of action for the first half of the year. I mean, she was really up there with some big bounces. Just out of curiosity, what is the average bounce here going from? About 3 1/3 cent to right there roughly. 4 1/2 cents. So those are 25% bounces. Each one of those bounces was 25% in 4 hours. That's a pretty good take, especially if you catch the bounce down and catch it back up, right? That's right, buy low, sell high. Had a huge spike here for one day, which took it up to about 4.5 cents, but pretty much he's been sitting low. Our 200 is very nicely showing a recovery period coming right now. She has broke the MACD. It's come across the signal line and is working its way up. Can't say we see a lot of energy in the RSI. That isn't showing a lot going on here. Now remember, we only had 350,000 shares. So that really isn't a lot of shares, especially if you have people buying chunks of them. And at this price, it's very easy to buy chunks of shares. This is just over a penny, folks. Just over a penny. Call it a penny and a half. So when it hits 3 cents, you've doubled your money. When it hits 6 cents, you've quadrupled your money. So 1 cent is a great price. You know, if you buy it at 3 cents, it has to go 4, 5, 6. Then you double. But if you buy it at 1, 2, double, 3, triple. I mean, just like that. That's why buying on the ones is so profitable. All right. I don't see that this is going to fall any lower than where she's at. This looks like, I'm going to come back. Let's go 20 days, just so we're sure here. All right, we did have a low way back here. It has been climbing ever since then, hit that high bubble, and it's come now back down to here. This could dip a little bit more. It very well could. You could get it down here at 00 or 013. Those zeros are confusing. You could get it at 13. It's at 14.2 right now. But in either case, the way this thing bounces, this could take off and you could end up with a serious gain up here at 9 cents. You know? So you can see she's tight. She's tight. This was her high. And if you take that gander back again, you can see her high was clear back here. Now, I'm not talking about her ultimate high. I'm talking about her standard high. Her standard high was, you know, it goes all the way back, and that is at 6 cents. So right there is a 400% gain if it chose to shoot back up. And I don't know how long this hasn't been current. It could have been a long time. It could have been way back here when it fell, when it went off being current. And this could bring it all the way back up. So there you go. All right, so that last one had 30 times the volume. This one is going to make it look small. This is WGEI, Wind Gen Energy. Now, what is the major catalyst for this today? At least it could be. Again, you have it going one direction and another direction at the same time. You can end up with one heck of a launch. It came off the expert market. It was totally off the market and went straight to pink current today. Boom! Just that quick. It was out there and it launched. Now let's see what the relative volume was on this. She's got another catalyst going for her too, though I wouldn't call it a catalyst. It is part of what's happening. All right, she normally does 17,000 shares a day. Today she did 1.5 million. I have to check this number so I don't get it wrong. Right, that is 85 times her normal shares. 85 times. Folks, 85 times as many customers today as I had yesterday. Holy cannoli. This thing jumped from 17,000 to a respectable 1.5 million. People will find this in their searches. They couldn't even find this because most people want 100,000 shares or more. So this was definitely on a lot of radars today. What is the company's share count? Not bad at all. Look at this. 21 million shares. They got 52 million out. 100 million is all they have total. I mean total. That's really good. So you got a 21 million float. And let's take a look at her financials. That's always something curious. So they say she's a shell company, and she is. She is just over a penny with the transfer agent verified. We don't see a verified profile yet, which is something you want to see. And they are a shell. It doesn't say a shell risk. It says a shell. A shell risk is when you say you're doing something and you're not. A shell is when you intend to be empty because you plan on doing something, a reverse merger or a joint venture or something. So what was it today that was of interest beyond? Well, there's nothing here, as you can see. The news, there's absolutely nothing. And the filings, is the only place you can really get any news. So I came over here to the 10Q, which just came out, yesterday, as a matter of fact, which could have a lot to do with it today. So we're just taking a real quick gander here at the 10Q. This happens to be unaudited, which I was surprised. I didn't know 10Qs could be unaudited, which means since they didn't have a CPA do it, they're going to still need an attorney letter. Now this, normally at the very top you get all their accounting, but since they didn't make any money, there's not any real accounting here. And most people are a little scared by all that. But right under all of that, you get to the meat of what the company is. Right here you can see starting from 2010, they list everything that they do. But up at the top, you get a nutshell. And right here is our nutshell, this very first sentence. WindGen Energy Inc. intends to acquire technology from Dash BST Limited, an Israeli entity that has developed next-generation solar solutions to underrepresented and/or growing market segments. The company is currently targeting high-growth agriculture solar marketing segments for its advanced solar power generation systems. And that is what they're doing. They are primarily using someone else's technology, and when you read further you see they don't even have their own factory, so they are subcontracting this technology out, and they are focusing on agricultural solar panels. That is their big push, and that is the only other piece of information, except for the fact that they came off of the expert market, which is a huge thing. You normally get some huge bounces, and this one got 88% today. So let's go take a look at that. Well, there you go. We have got a very tall green totem sitting out there in the middle of nowhere by itself. That is just today, folks. That was where it reached. That is 6 cents. And the day before it was at 007. So that is about 1,100% gains from top to bottom. Now they read it as 88%. How did they get 88%? Oh, it fell. Okay, so she ended up, all right. Yeah, she ended up way the heck back down there. But in the beginning of the day, she was up. And we're going to take a look and see what time that bounce hit. Was it 10 a.m. when I think most big bounces stop? All right, so you had February here, and she pretty much stayed right around here, folks. Take notice of her norm. She likes to stay up here. This became a secondary norm for a while, and she just stair-stepped down. And you can see she can stair-step her way right back up, given the right circumstances. And this showed that she is willing to go all the way above her ultimate high. So this shows a lot of potential. The volume really kicked in today. Coming off the expert market, you normally do get one heck of a launch. Seriously, this is where we look for the biggest gains, is coming back onto the market. But timing is crucial. You got to be there when they're actually doing it, and there's no forewarning. So it's very difficult. Let's come in on the 5-minute, 5-day. All right, let's spread that out a little bit. We got quite a lot of supports in here. They're really tight. I'm going to get rid of those just so it's easier to read here. All right, I'm going to kick back also 20 days so it makes a little more sense. All right, you can see there's not a lot of volume. Very little volume going on with this until today. Today she had, what was it, 85, 89%? I forget, but it was a ridiculous amount. And it did hit there. Now, I want to see how fast that hit. All right, that hit in the first 5 minutes. So let's come down to 1 minute. Let's see. The very first minute. It must have gone current just before the bell went off. And people just jumped in. So in 60 seconds, it went up 1,100% and came all the way back down to... well, I guess that initial jump gave it about 300% gains right there. Yeah. So you can see how coming back onto the market is a great motivator by all means. And they do have that listed in the back end of their 10K. There was no press release. You can't find any news about it. I'm not even sure if it's on Twitter. It doesn't look to be fantastic news, but in either case, it was a good example to show you what happens when these stocks come back on the market from the expert. And we do take a look at those. I normally look at one or two every now and then and throw them at you. TGMR is still one we're watching. And I'm going to have to go through the videos to find the other one, because we got two. Oh, ACSS. Hey, there you go. So TGMR and ACSS are the two expert markets ready to go current. They're not waiting for anything. They're just waiting for it to happen. And one of them has an 11,000% gain potential. And the other one it's very, very high as well. I can't remember. But there you go. A little extra bread for your meat sandwich. So this one here, I don't know about anything growing out of it, but it's a perfect example of what happens when you catch these on the money. And the best for last. I told you I was going to show you one that just had some insane relative volume. This is DBRM, Daybreak Oil and Gas, finished at 5 cents today with 60% gains. They are paying current, verified profile, and they got the bonus of independent directors. Check out that volume. The simple math here, folks, is 255 times the volume. 32,000 times 255 equals 8.7 million. That is one hell of an increase in volume. That is a magnitude not to be ignored. What is her share count? Maybe she had some low shares there to help. 38 million in the float or thereabouts, which isn't a bad float at all, considering that they only have 60 million outstanding total. You know it can't be much higher than that. And a bonus with this company is they're actually making money. They're doing about $500,000 roughly, give or take. So they don't have any problems in that area. So what is the deal right now? Oh, get out of there. Right now is this. Daybreak Oil and Gas to acquire Rebold California LLC. It's an acquisition, folks. It tells you right here that Rebold California owns 50% working interest and operates 10 producing wells in Sacramento Basin, producing 613,000 barrels of oil equivalent. That's been proved. After this transaction is completed, Daybreak will have over 1 million barrels of proved oil equivalent with an approximate value of $17 million. This will give them 70 barrels of oil a day. The combined production would approximately be 100 barrels of oil a day. And considering what oil is doing right now, you can see why it got a lot of attention. They just bought an oil producing well that is actually already doing it and proven to have more oil to give during the times when oil is so high. All right, so let's go take a look at what the chart shows for this. 6 month, 4 hour for DBRM. This is not the stimulus month. This is something internal. This had something to do with the company. And you can see it was very, very exciting. The volume there was just incredible. But even more incredible are these bounces. That went all the way from 15 cents down from under 3 cents. So you're talking over 500% jumps when this stock gets excited, when the volume comes into play. Look, you can see there's very little volume here. And where there was volume, you got some good bounces. You got some good bounces, and I'm sure these have got to be, let me see, 3. Yeah, those are over 10% bounces, each one of those. And when all the volume disappeared, the bounces did too. One little volume spoke, one poke right there until now. Let's come in on that. Let's go out there. Okay. I've got some lines drawn here. This is about the 50% mark on this surge from top to bottom, and you can see it's fallen well under the 50%, which is a sign of a weak stock, and it could continue falling. I don't think it would go any lower than here, but this is where it could fall. It could go down to there, and these have a tendency when they go below 50 to really bounce hard, or just, you know, a dead cat bounce, as they would call it. However, on the long run, I think that this company has got something going for it with that sort of volume. Oil is high, and the volume was 255 times as high as normal, and I don't expect that to just disappear tomorrow. Gold, oil, these sort of markets, there is a few days involved, so I keep my eyes on this for the next couple of days, and this could be the most ultimate point right here to get in. Relative volume. It's important. It's not a bad thing. Seriously, relative volume is like an alarm bell. It's like smoke. When you smell it and hear it, you need to pay attention. Something's going on. And in the stock market, it's normally a good thing. I suppose it could be a bad thing, but in most cases, it is good. And you see now we started with just twice as much volume, and it went all the way up to 255 times the volume from one day to the next. Incredible. And you got to watch these stocks because they get huge bounces. Keep your eye on those expert markets when they come out. Huge bounces. Low floats, huge bounces. And it's all in the details, folks. Make lists up and keep an eye on these things. The more you know, the more you grow. See you, folks.